So peep this scenario. Let's say that you are in your house and you doing whatever. You could be cooking, you could be watching TV, you could be doing a chore, or whatever the case may be. And then you say to yourself, I have to go in the other room and I got to get something. And it can be anything. Whatever you go into the room and you go and retrieve it. When you get to that room, you say to yourself, what did I come in here for? Have you ever experienced that? Me personally, I've experienced that a number of times. And I actually spoke on that on one of the latest episodes of the Growth Times Infinity podcast. Now, at the time that I brought it up on the episode, I didn't know that there was an actual name for that event until one of my listeners actually brought it to my attention. He made me aware of it. So actually, there's a name for that thing. When we go from one room to the other and we forget why we have arrived in that room. And the name of this particular thing is called the doorway effect. Have anyone else ever heard of this? Now, I know for those who are watching, you more than likely have experienced this a number of times like myself. And actually, I decided to do some research on it. The doorway effect. Now, when I did the research on it, I found a number of interesting things on the topic, right? Number one, this is actually normal. So it's not something that you have to be concerned about, because I know this has been happening to me over the years. And I'll tell you the truth, I was actually concerned. I was concerned that I was having memory issues, and God forbid, I was wondering if I had early stages of Alzheimer's, right? I actually thought about this, like on the cool. I was just thinking, man, I'm experiencing something. I'm having some type of problem that I will be forgetful of things. And again, I mentioned this is something that I would pretty much deal with, maybe not so much on a daily basis, but a number of days throughout the week. Even to this day, I still experience this. The doorway effect. Again, it's when you go from one room to the other and you forget why you enter that room. So as I mentioned before, this is actually a normal thing according to psychologists who have done research, who have done studies. They came across this. They've done experiments on groups of people. And based on their research, they determined that this type of things happen when you go into a different room. It creates mental blockage in your brain, right? So basically what that means, according to the research that I studied, basically what it means is that when you go into a room, your mind will put out some old stuff and it will create room for new stuff to come into your mind. That's what it does. So again, if you're a person who have experienced this, don't worry about it. It don't have anything to do with your memory. It doesn't have anything to do with your intellect. And I was thinking about this because I would think that I don't recall going through this when I was a young lad. I don't recall going through this when I was a teenager. You know, throughout my life, this is something that happened within the last few years. So that's why I was saying to myself that I was having memory issues and that type of thing. But something else I read when I was reading the research, this is something normal because our brain evolves throughout the years. And that's normal, right? Because like everything else that evolves, the brain evolves as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The doorway effect. So let me know what you think about this topic. Have you ever heard of the doorway effect? Have you experienced going from one room to the other and you have forgotten why you went into that room? Have you ever experienced that before? And if so, how often do you think you experienced that? I would love to receive your feedback, and you can leave your feedback by leaving a comment below in the video. I am Reggie the Growth Advocate, and I appreciate you all tuning into this video. And until the next time, keep growing and keep going.